Hey everybody, it's Doodly Squatch. Sorry for my gravelly voice, I have a cold. But still time to record, so let's get it going. So today's doodle is inspired by the show Welcome to Derry. I really like the wild transformation that Pennywise goes through just right near the end, and it was just kind of fun to see and to fiddle around with. And I figured it'd be a good time to talk about my love of Stephen King books and just how much I enjoy them. I know I've mentioned this before, but I figured I could just look over at my bookshelf and kind of go through each of the books and give you my impression or what I remember of them. It's been a while since I've read some of them, but I have read them all. So starting off at the top, I'm going to skip the collections of short stories, by the way. Those are all good, and those kind of deserve their own run-through on their own, because there's just so much good stuff in them. So, okay. Starting off at the top, we got Carrie. I've always liked Carrie. I think the thing that they always miss when they make movies out of it is Carrie's supposed to be like an ugly girl, like unattractive, heavy set, just pimply faced, ugly girl. Not to be mean or body shame or whatever, but just, the way she's depicted in the book is not even like unconventionally attractive, which is what they usually end up going for with the movies. She's not pretty like the cheerleaders, but she's pretty in her own way. It's like, no, she's supposed to be just like butt ugly. And that's it makes her like powers even more like crazy. Let's see, Salem's Lot, another really good one. I've enjoyed all the different depictions of Salem's Lot. Just kind of the classic vampire story. I like that Father Callahan, shows up later in the Dark Tower series. It's just an overall good, just regular spooky book. Nothing too wild, but it's fun because it starts to sort of build Stephen King's world. There's this Stephen King has his own state of Maine, I would say. Following that is The Shining, another classic. I really like the book. I'm not a massive fan of Stanley Kubrick's version. It's visually very pretty, and Jack Nicholson does great. Shelley Duvall does great. It's a good story, but I like the one presented in the book better, where Danny's dad is more of a tragic character, rather than just kind of flipping out. I don't know, but it's a good one. I like it. It's one I'll always recommend to people. After that is The Stand, the very big, original kind of like magnum opus for Mr. King. Really fun read. Definitely good if you're, a recent survivor of the 2020s. Kind of fun to read about, the captain trips and, the end of the world. That sort of thing. I enjoyed the miniseries. I wish they'd make a newer one. I know I think they did another short-lived one, or maybe it was just a comic, but nevertheless, still a good one. Next is The Dead Zone. I remember this one mostly because I remember seeing the movie as a kid. It's got Christopher Walken in it, fairly young Christopher Walken in it. And just, the idea of getting these visions of seeing how people are going to die or that sort of stuff, and trying to prevent it, trying to help, hoping people believe you, that sort of crazy stuff. But I really enjoyed this story as well. It's a good one. Next is Firestarter. I remember this one with Drew Barrymore when she was a kid. I remember watching this as a kid. I probably shouldn't have. I don't know. Another really fun story. I love the idea of these, like drug trials, accidentally sort of coming up with, people with psychic powers. I like the powers that her like parents had, and the character of this guy that's supposed to be, hunting her, his like weird obsession with shoes and stuff like that. It's very interesting. Next is Cujo. Everyone knows Cujo. It's a short book. It's good enough. It's fun. It's pretty dang grim. Spoilers that things don't go well. Next is Christine. So it's first dog, now car. Christine is more of a funny read for me. I don't know. I enjoyed it, but the movie's funny. It is interesting. It kind of shows that Stephen King can kind of make anything haunted. Pet Sematari's next. Really like that one. That one's great. Super creepy. I always felt bad for Gage. Oh man, that poor guy. I did enjoy the recent sort of remake where they sort of flipped the script, where Gage wasn't the one that bought it with the truck and that sort of thing. But it was fun. As when it comes to like Stephen King movie portrayals, they're a mixed bag, but they're all enjoyable and interesting, I would say. Let's see, the short interlude is Cycle of the Werewolf. It was made into a movie called Silver Bullet, I think. This one's really fun, and I really like the illustrations in it. Very, very nice illustrations. Then there's The Talisman, the one he wrote with Peter Straub. Such a good book. Feels very different, tastes very different, but this idea of Traveling Jack and this kid sort of learning how to like bounce between realities and just going on this crazy journey to save his mom. I keep hoping they'll make a fun like mini series out of this, because The Talisman and Black House are both really good. After that we have It. Hey, look who we're drawing. There's no secret, I love this book. It has its problems. Yeah, it's a little but nevertheless, I really enjoy it. I love all the different depictions of it in the book. I wish to see more of that. I love the idea of the giant bird with the tongue, where you can see the pom-poms on the tongue, or like when it was Frankenstein's monster. Just kind of playing on everyone's fears and not focusing solely on the clown. That's what I liked about the Welcome to Derry show, was it you don't see the clown for a while, and it's to sort of hammer home this dude ain't a clown. He's it's a creature of fear, and anywho, so after that we have The Eyes of the Dragon, which was Stephen King's foray into fantasy. My dad had me read this when I was a kid, and it was fun. I didn't really appreciate it at the time, and it's a cute story. It's short, it's fine. Then we have Misery, another fun entry. People are usually familiar with this one just because of Kathy Bates' character in the movie, and the hobbling scene and all that. It's pretty grim, pretty awful. After that, there's the Tommyknockers. This one I remember especially because I remember my brother reading it about the same time my mom was reading it, and how they were both freaking out about it, and how it kind of messed with them. And they were talking about like having dreams about like their teeth falling out and stuff like that, and I didn't quite understand it until they read the book. And yeah, no, it's an interesting one. It's kind of a fun take on like aliens and how they would affect like a small town. After that is The Dark Half, one that I don't remember very much reading. I remember, I definitely read it. I remember seeing the movie. It's kind of it's fine. It was Stephen King killing off his pen name, Richard Bachman. Basically. But the stories, short, over pretty quick. La la la. But after that is Needful Things, which is another one that like stood out to me a lot as a kid. I remember my dad telling me about the story, and the cover is just very sort of iconic. I remember seeing that on my dad's shelf a lot. After that is Gerald's Game. Not exactly my cup of tea. It was, it's still nevertheless an interesting book. if you told someone, here's a story about a woman who's stuck, handcuffed to a bed after a mishap, and the whole story is, her there, you'd be like, that sounds boring. But Stephen King's really good at sort of taking those situations and flipping them, to where you're like, oh, this is interesting. Hard to see on my shelf. Oh, there we go. Next is Dolores Claiborne, another Kathy Bates one when it comes to the movie. And it's interesting because it's not horror at all. It's like domestic horror, I would say. Like dealing with an abusive scumbag husband and sort of the lengths you'll go to fight that. Nevertheless, good book, really enjoyable. Next one, I remember seeing commercials for this book. A commercial for a book is Insomnia, and I really like Insomnia. It's a crazy take on a lot of things. It's this guy who's slowly not able to sleep at all, and the sort of toll it's taking on his mind, but it's also like opening up his like brain to things other people can't see. He like becomes like almost like a psychic vampire, like halfway through it. It's nuts. I really enjoyed it. It's a good one. A lot of interesting visuals, that sort of thing. Then we have Rose Madder, another sort of domestic horror one, but it also has its own sort of like supernatural thing going on. Golly, we're only about halfway through, and this video is about done. What the heck? We'll go for part 2, maybe even part 3. Kind of fun to plan these in a series, anyways. But thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know if you have any Stephen King books you especially like, or any comments you have on that. Subscribe, tell your friends, buy some merch, all that jazz. Hope you have a good one. Bye-bye.